Welcome to Module 2, Smart Lists and Excel Reports for Microsoft Dynamics GP 2013. In this module, we'll cover Smart List Designer, how to use it, how to modify and create Smart Lists. We'll cover Excel report deployment, both from an on-premise and an Office 365 environment. We'll cover the integration points and how you can collaborate with others using your Excel reports. And then finally, we'll wrap up this module with security. The security module, or the security aspect of this module, will basically cover Windows Authenticated Security and how to set up security access to view Excel reports. So let's get started with the demonstration. So opening up Dynamics GP 2013, we can see once again that we have our home screen available right when you log into the application. So the first area you want to look at is our Smart Lists and Smart List Designer. So by navigating from our Microsoft Dynamics GP tab down to Smart Lists, we open up our Smart List window. So in this example, let's open our sales and customers. So Smart Lists is basically an easy ad hoc tool that allows you to create on-the-fly reporting information and leverage that either in Excel or within the Dynamics GP application itself. So let's give you a few examples of how this will be useful in your organization. So again, starting with customers, we'll look at customers, just a customer balance Smart List. So in this case, the Smart List is querying the database for customer name, customer number, and then also the balance for that customer. As you can see, it's formatted and it gives us the information we need. We also have actions that we can take against each record. So by going to the Go To drop-down button in the upper right-hand corner, we can quickly navigate to other areas within the GP application by simply selecting from the drop-down list. For this example, if we go to a customer inquiry, it passes in the parameter or record for Aaron Fitz Electric into the customer inquiry window, and from that point we can see and utilize the information we need in order to either make a decision or to modify this customer's record. The other thing that we can do with the Smart List is to easily create Smart List favorites. We can also do searches on the data. So in this case, I'm going to create a Smart List favorite, and I'm just going to search on the customer name, or excuse me, we'll back out of this in here, and we'll go to customers. So now I've got a list of all my customer information. So you can see I've got quite a few more fields available for as far as information I want to see. So if there's information that is available, that's not available on the screen that you'd like to see in this list, you can simply come into the Change Column Display window. In this Change Column Display window, you can change the order in which you want the columns to appear in the Smart List, and you can also add additional columns. So these columns that you can add to a Smart List or existing Smart List are predefined. So if you want to add information that's not in this predefined list of columns, then we'll use our Smart List Designer, which I'll show you that in a minute. So let's say we want to stick with these fields. We'll go ahead and hit OK. Now we got the information we want for this customer navigation layer Smart List. But let's limit this down because maybe I'm a salesperson and I only work with customers in Minnesota. So let me navigate to just the customers that I want to work with rather than having to navigate through thousands of potential customer records. So in this case, we'll do our search. And we'll go to our column name, and I want to filter the list based on state because all my customers are residing in Minnesota. For the filter, I have an option between, I can do a contain search, equal, between, etc. So in this case, I want to do equal to MN and go ahead and select OK. So now at this point, you can see that I've got my Smart List customer list now queried or filtered to just show customers that are in the state of Minnesota. So what can I do with this now? Well, I can really take this information and I can utilize it in different areas of the application. So first thing I can do is I can create a favorite, and I'm just going to create a favorite called Minnesota Customers. And I'll go ahead and add it as a favorite. So as we expand the left-hand navigation tree, we can now see that I have a Smart List favorite called Minnesota Customers. So let's see how we can actually utilize that within the organization or within the application itself. So just minimizing this window, let me navigate to our customer list. So now in this case, I can use that same Smart List to filter the number of customers that I see when I do a lookup. So in this case, my default is to show all customers when I go into the customer lookup. But if I just want to see customers from Minnesota, I select the drop-down arrow on the left-hand side, select Favorites, and now you can see that I've got this Minnesota Customers Smart List favorite. When I come into the window and apply the filter, now you can see that it's a subset of filters or a subset of records based on customers that reside in the state of Minnesota. I can take it one step further and make this my default setting. So each time I come into a customer lookup, for example, I don't have to reapply the filter. So let's say another example, I'm creating a sales transaction. So I'll open my transaction window, create an order, and when I go to my customer lookup, you can see that that filter is automatically applied based on the default view that I want to see for a customer lookup. So again, it's a quick and easy way for me to go in and simplify the information I want to see in order to avoid having to search through maybe potential thousands of records. Now, as far as the smart list and how you can utilize this, it's not just on customers, but inventory items, employees, etc. So basically, whenever you create a smart list favorite, you can incorporate that into your lookups as well in order to limit the information based on what's pertinent to you. So that's one example of how to use a smart list. Go ahead and close my windows. The other thing that I want to show with the smart list is some of the changes that were made for existing users. So if you are an existing user of Microsoft Dynamics GP, there are some things that were, we'll just say they were pain points for customers in the past as far as not being able to resize the left-hand navigation or tree. And so what we've done is we've added some features and functionality within Microsoft Dynamics GP 2013 that allow you to maximize the amount of information that you want to see. So basically you have the hide show, so you can either expand or collapse or hide or show the navigation tree. So again, this gives you full access to all the information that you want to see in your smart list itself. And we also have the option to increase or decrease the width. So if you do have some smart lists with longer names, you can simply just do a right click in the navigation or tree area in the smart list and increase or decrease the width that you want to see for the navigation. So again, those are just some very quick and simple ways that I can modify a smart list, make it a favorite, and then utilize that favorite within the Dynamics GP application to make my job of finding data a lot easier. The other thing that's a favorite for people is to take this information and export it out to Excel. So with Smart List, we have the ability to basically export any information right out to Excel. And now at this point, you have full Excel functionality. So whether I wanted to format or whatever the case might be, I can take this information and I've got full Excel functionality in order to make the changes that I want. Now once I've made these changes, I can save these files back, and I'll show you how you can see that information right within the Dynamics GP product itself. Now one thing to mention regarding the Excel reports, the reports when you publish information out from Smart List, is that the information, once it's published to Excel, is static. And so that will lead us into the next part that we want to talk about is around Excel reports in just a few minutes. But essentially in this scenario, I created my ad hoc report using a Smart List, and at that point, I published or exported the information out to Excel, but at that point, it's static information. So a real pain point for customers in the past is that they always want to see refreshed data. So what that meant is that somebody had to go in, export the information out of a Smart List into Excel, potentially reformat the information or reformat the Excel file based on what the report consumer wanted to see. And it was a continual process. So you might spend a half hour, an hour every week basically just going in, exporting information out of a Smart List, reformatting the report, and then handing that off to somebody else. So a Smart List, it's great. It's a great tool for doing ad hoc. It's a great tool for navigating and limiting data that's within your Dynamics GP application. But once the information's in Excel, again, it becomes static. So hence the feature for Excel reports and refreshable data. But again, we'll talk about that in just a few minutes. So going back to our Smart List, we also have the option to create a new Smart List or modify an existing Smart List. So as I mentioned a few minutes ago, if I wanted to add a column to my existing Smart List, I go to the Columns button, select Add, and I see a list of predefined columns that I can add to my Smart List. Well, there are some cases where these columns or a column that you want to add is not available in that list. So what we've done is we've created a Smart List Designer to basically allow you to create a Smart List from scratch. So in the upper left-hand corner, we've got a New button. and that takes you into the Smart List Designer window. Now at this point, I can either choose to modify the existing Smart Lists for Minnesota customers that I've created. So in this case, we can see the selected fields. I can go ahead and I can modify this and add additional fields that way if they don't appear in that columns list. Or I can choose to create something from brand new. So we'll just go ahead and hit new, and we'll just call this demo. In the product drop-down list, we can see that we have Microsoft Dynamics GP as well as other applications that are loaded. So in this case, if I'm using a advanced scheduling or a third-party product or an ISV product, that information would show up right in this drop-down list. So it's not just limited to Microsoft Dynamics GP information. It also incorporates or allows you to incorporate information from other ISV products that you may have installed. So we'll just stick with Microsoft Dynamics GP for the product, and then you can select the series. And the series, again, is basically where the information is going to flow to once you've saved it. Okay, so looking on the left-hand side here, we've got Dynamics GP. We'll open up a table. I will make quick mention that we can do either tables or views. So we have SQL views available that you can use. And let's just go to our sales tables. And we'll go to a customer master table. It's fairly common. And we'll go ahead and expand that out. So if you remember in the first module with reporting services, this is a very similar look and feel as far as how to select the data and how to select your fields and make them available for a Smart List. So we intentionally tried to mimic it after the report builder experience so that people have a common experience when they're trying to create a Smart List as they do with SQL report. Okay, so for this case, I'm going to do something very simple. Again, I'll just do customer name and customer number. And that's all I want from this table. So you can see as I select the fields, they become available. And let's see, we'll do sales transaction work. We'll look for that table here. And we'll expand that window. And from that, let's just do a document type. Again, this is just something very simple. And we'll go ahead. Now we can see that we've got information from two tables. We've got information from our RM customer master table and then information from our sales transaction work table. Okay, so now at this point we have two different data sources, so we need to combine or relate the information in those two tables. So it's basically doing a join between the two tables. So I can see for my customer master table, I've got my customer number, and we'll do a left join. And for my sales transaction work, we'll do customer number as well. So again, it's information that pertains to both tables. And give me a minute and I'll find my number here. There we go. Okay. So if I knew my data a little bit better, it'd probably be a smoother demonstration. So I have two choices at this point, really. I can do a manual selection like I just did for a manual relationship, or I can just choose the auto link. So the auto link will basically look at the two different tables of information that I have and try and link those tables together based on common primary keys. So in this case, I just did the manual. We also have the option to do filters. So if I only, again, in this case, if I just wanted to see information pertaining to customers in Minnesota, I could simply go in and add a restriction for those customers. Okay, so the really nice thing about the Smart List Designer is that it's not necessarily a trial and error application. What we can do is once we have the information selected, we can essentially go in and we can run a query to see the information that's available. Again, in this case, I don't have information that's available in both, so let me go and see if I did something wrong on my joins. But again, I can do an auto link or I can do a join at this case. So now I've created my Smart List. Again, it's very easy to do that. It's very easy to go in and make some modifications to the Smart List itself. So again, I can execute the query and select OK. Again, based on the data that I have available to me, I didn't have anything that came